Excellencies, esteemed delegates, respected climate advocates, good morning. It is a profound honor to be here with you all today at this conference. I extend my deepest gratitude to the organizer and fellow participants who make this gathering not just a negotiation platform, but a moral compass for the world. It is especially humbling to speak today in the presence of individuals whose courage and leadership continue to inspire global climate action. Dr. Fatih Birol, Executive Director of the International Energy Agency, and then Greta Thunberg and Vanessa Nakate, who's climate justice activist. My name is Brillianti Wantika. I'm representing Oxfam International, yet standing firm in the fight for justice. I speak here not on behalf of my nation, but in solidarity with all vulnerable community across the global south. The topic I wish to raise today is climate justice and the global south, addressing inequalities in climate change policy. I will divide this speech into three key messages. First, the global south bears the heaviest burden of climate change despite contributing the least. Second, climate finance has failed to deliver on its promises. And then third, achieving real climate justice requires inclusive, accountable, and equitable policies moving forward. Distinguished colleagues, let us begin with the most glaring injustice, the disproportionate impacts of climate change on the global south. According to the Global Carbon Atlas in 2023, the wealthiest 10% of the world population are responsible for over half of global emissions, while the poorest 50% contribute only 10%. Yet it is the nations of the global south that suffer the most. In 2022, Pakistan experienced historic flooding that displaced 33 million people and caused damage of over 30 billion US dollar. In the Horn of Africa, prolonged drought continued to push over 20 million people to the edge of famine, and entire island nations like Tuvalu and Maldives are watching their homelands sink beneath rising seas. This is not just climate issue, it is a human rights crisis. Secondly, we must talk about climate finance. In 2009, developed nations pledged to mobilize 100 billion US dollar per year to support climate adaptation and mitigation in developing countries. Yet, in 2023, we are still waiting. Not only has this goal not been fully met, but most of the funding comes as loan, not grants, deepening debt for nations already struggling with poverty. Meanwhile, in 2024 alone, the world's richest economy spent 7 trillion US dollar on fossil fuel subsidies. This issue is not the lack of money, it is the failure of priorities. Climate finance must be educated, accessible, and just. It must empower communities rather than trap them in a new cycle of dependency. Third, we must demand a new kind of leadership, one that inclusive, fair, and accountable. The G20 countries account for 80% of global emission, yet their climate policies often lack ambition and justice. Fossil fuel expansion continues, while frontline communities are asked to adapt with little support. These activists, indigenous leaders, women in rural communities, and those on the front line of the climate emergency must not be left out of the global climate conversation. The global south doesn't need pity, it needs a platform, a power in the process. In conclusion, we stand today at a crossroad. We can choose to continue a system of injustice where the vulnerable pay the price for the privilege, or we can transform the future together. Climate justice demands real action, not empty promises. It requires those most responsible to take the greatest responsibility, and it calls on each of us, especially those in a position of influence, to act with courage, integrity, and urgency. To every policymaker in this room, let us not leave Brazil with more statements. Let us leave with solution, with stronger alliance, and with renewed moral commitment. Together, let us rise to this moment. Let us choose justice. We must act. Thank you.